This is the brand new Olight Osight S. This is a fully enclosed red dot sight with RMSc footprint this time that some of us have been asking for. So after testing out this optic for a few hours, here are a few noticeable things you're going to see in this video. There will be a more detailed video about it later this year. So the Osight S follows the same rechargeable design as the original one that came out last year. And everything is pretty much what you can expect the optic to be. And now we actually have one right here to show. This doesn't have any charging port on the side or the bottom, and the charging port is on the top of the window. Based on what you can see right here, the optic is pretty much sealed from the top to bottom, side to side. If you know about what an enclosed optic offers, it keeps dirt and moisture out of the optic, so the Osight S is now one of the options you can pick from among other available options on the market. The Osight S overall construction is very good. Right? It doesn't feel cheap at all. Olight has done a fantastic job making this. The packaging and everything feels really premium, just like their light products. The overall deck height is extremely low, and the optic comes with a rear sight notch to co-witness the front sight in case the dot dies. Some people really appreciate this and others don't, so just keep that in mind. But on this P365, it works perfect because the gun doesn't have a rear sight after you remove the plate cover, so this rear notch comes in handy. And all around, you don't see any gap or questionable seam lines on this optic. So it's fully sealed front and back to prevent water and dust from getting into the housing unit. For our testing, we are focusing on its range performance first without judging it based on how well it performs if it's dropped on its head. However, we do take that into consideration without completely destroying the optic that isn't realistic. So as you can see here side by side, the Osight S feels pretty beefy like the EPS carry, but the field of view appears much bigger. I can't really pinpoint where, but it just appears wider to the naked eye. Maybe it's the thinner lens frame on the side that slightly opens up the field of view. And here is more side-by-side comparison between the EPS and the Osight S. Since we were testing this during the winter season, we had the opportunity to test it in the snow. For the most part, the optic performs in cold weather, and there is no foggy lens during rapid temperature changes. So at the time of testing, the temperature went from freezing cold, 12 degrees weather, to 63 degrees in the span of 4 hours, and there wasn't any noticeable fogging obscuring the lens. So yes, it can handle snow and water if you accidentally dropped it into a puddle. But this doesn't mean you can just pick it up and aim right away. You still need to wipe the lens clean before seeing through the glass clearly. And it's way easier than dealing, for example, something like the open emitter, where you have to dig things out and also clean the emitter screen. Like here, you still have to wipe the front and rear glass clear, get rid of the streaks and frost. Otherwise, you can't see if something is stuck on there like mud. Now let's look at the reticle. The Osight S now comes with a multiple reticle system, and its operation is the same as those HoloSun product. So if you know how to use a HoloSun, this is going to be the same. So you get a single 2M OA dot, a 32M OA ring-only reticle, and a combined reticle with the dot and the ring. To change them, you just hold down the minus button for 3 seconds, and you see it cycles through different modes, and it flashes to let you know you made the change. The 2MOA dot appears much sharper if you wear glasses. So for those with astigmatism, the dot may not appear sharp if you have vision problems. You can learn about the subtle things you may not know about dealing with astigmatism right here in this video, since most red dots are crystal clear. But if your vision isn't corrected, then it's going to be difficult to see clearly. One thing I noticed was that the ring-only reticle appears much easier for the eye to pick up than having to focus on the center dot if it appears refracted. Also press the plus button for 3 seconds to cycle through manual and flexible light sensor modes. The max setting is plenty to see under a sunny day, and the flexible light sensor automatically adjusts the reticle brightness, but it doesn't change based on the target lighting conditions. It only changed from the ambient light around the shooter, and as you can see, it refreshes fairly fast. And there isn't really any lag as far as what we noticed, and for nighttime use, where the light source around you isn't changing much, then the manual adjustment is still a better option to get exactly the brightness you want. In terms of mounting, it's exactly what you can expect. The RMSc footprint fits on any existing RMSc slides and mounting plates if you already have them, including offset mounts that go on long guns. So this will work on any sub-compact handguns and RMSc plates. And from the packaging, you get these boxes right here, and they contain all the Torx screws you need. and the most common ones are the 6 to 32 screws. All right, now the next thing is the turret. So each click moves 1 minute of angle for both elevation and windage. You're going to love these turrets because they provide positive feedback, and it's very important for an optic when it comes to zeroing. So it's very tactile when you turn the dial, and with each click, you'll be able to feel it as you count the clicks. So for many of us that have tried poor quality optics that don't have positive feedback, those are horrible when zeroing because you can't really tell if you moved 1 click or 2 clicks. So this makes a huge difference in accuracy when zeroing. And so far, the only complaint is that the turret requires a super thin flathead to dial. You can't just pick up a shell or a regular size flathead to do it. So if you're using this optic, be sure to have a small flathead tool with you to the range, otherwise you won't be able to zero it. Now, let's talk about the battery. Right now, the spec that Olight has provided says it lasts about 20,000 hours on mode 3. The size of the battery, according to the manual, is only 220 milliamp hours, but as always, we still have to test this for ourselves. The original Osight lasts about 330 days after just 1 full charge, so it will be interesting to see how long this one lasts. The charging cover goes on top like this to charge the optic, and it takes roughly 60 to 80 minutes to charge it from 0 to 100, and as long as you don't damage the charging port, then you should be fine. However, if you lose the charging cover, then you can't charge the optic at all. The Olight Osight S is definitely very unique, and some of you out there may be excited to try out this without breaking the bank for under $250. The large window design is definitely something that will attract many shooters who are looking for an affordable alternative to the EPS Carry and the Romeo X Compact. Also, the Osight X model with the multiple reticles is available too. And it's pretty much the same with some minor differences. If you want to see what the big window Osight offers, please watch this one next.